Okay, I'm back. Wow, that was a funny one. Everything's working smooth, and it said that there's no internet connection. I checked both computers, they were online, except that one got bulleted out, probably. We never know. But I'm sorry about that. But anytime that happens, y'all, just hold tight and I'll be back. I was actually going to come into the phone, but that was getting on kind of slow too. I mean, makes you kind of wonder. Let me know if you can hear me. I did return. I'm back. Let me know if you can hear me. Everything seems to be working back in working order. I don't even panic when that happens because it's like Murphy's Law. It just always happens when it wants to. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, everybody knows power outages happen. But it wasn't even a power outage. It was a glitch in the internet connection. This is why I can't wait to get Starlink directly from the satellite. So that will happen. And it might happen again on this particular show. I see the viewers have dropped. We have 5 on. So that's cool. But let me go. Let me know, Landon, Fetty, welcome on in. Whoever's there. Yeah, I see Debo's that said no sound because I cut off. Yeah, Melanin galore. So let me know if you can hear me back again. Let me just check something else here just to make sure. There are so many wires and buttons. From my end, it looks good. Okay, maybe I'm not getting the response. Maybe you don't hear me when I ask for a sound check. I'm just going to carry on anyway because this is being recorded on my end. And if you don't hear me and eventually just hang up, I'll upload this and I'll just go through the whole thing myself. Anyway, let me see where I was. I spoke on negative self-talk, sleep disturbances, trouble falling asleep. Okay, thank you, Fetty. Thank you so much. Thank you. Tracy J, welcome on in. I'm glad you didn't hear silence because I got knocked off for a second. Yeah, trouble falling asleep, staying asleep, or experiencing restless sleep. This is often the result of an overactive mind that doesn't switch off. You gotta switch off, y'all. I think I'm one who never went crazy having a mind that never switched off. My mind never switches off. It does now. It does now. I force myself to, and you just can't do it by mentally forcing yourself because that'll make it even worse. But you just have to have other things you think about. You just have to know that when you do make your time to cover a task, focus on it then and there and schedule when you're going to be done. Unless you have a deadline or something, it's something that you'll be better when you get off of it. You know, when I used to go to the gym when I was very young, before I started really learning how to train, I thought more was better. I was burning myself out and didn't realize why I wasn't gaining as fast as I should have. That goes with anything else. Procrastination, avoiding tasks, especially those that require mental effort, often due to feeling overwhelmed or mentally fatigued. Yeah, you put stuff off, but you know what? When you procrastinate, it's like back in the day when we only had paper bills and a person may have been a little overwhelmed with the bills that were coming in. So they put it on the dresser in the bedroom, wrong place. You got to go to sleep. You look at this dresser full of bills piling up day after day. You may not have all the money to pay for them. So you start playing financial musical chairs. You pay a little here, you pay a little there, but you don't even want to see that. You see what I mean? So you procrastinate paying the bills, and the weight of that is worse than not paying it at all. So the day you get mad, you say, you know what, let me just call these creditors. I'm sick and tired of them sending me this mail, calling my phone, and then you realize you can make a payment plan, or you realize that they'll work with you to have you pay less. And you're like, I could have done this all along. You know what I mean? So procrastination does nothing. And I don't mean being a little tired to do something. You have to be balanced. You have to be rested. Tracy J says symptoms are 10 times worse living in America. Living in the West can cause most of these symptoms. Yes, you're right. And I was trying to explain it to somebody who wants to move to America from Ghana here. They have a nice house. Both this married couple, they both have good jobs, but it doesn't pay as much as America. So they go over there. They got 3 kids. If we go over there, it'll be better because we're hearing about the money that's made. But with 3 children, I mean, a couple together, yeah, okay. if you want to for a time. If you have family over there, that you don't have to go and get an expensive place. You don't know the place and you're on this job. It don't make no sense to go over there. Stay home. Because in a little while, not to get off topic, but it's going to be like wherever you are is where you're going to be. Things are about to get rough. By the end of this year and into next year, there's so many different variables. Like a man walking on a tightrope across from one tall building, skyscraper, to the next on a windy day without a safety net on the bottom. And he has itchy feet. So that's what it is. And look what's going on in Europe. You know, Giant King, welcome on in. Glad to see you. Glad to see you. And Landon Press says now put Europe in there too, which we've been new, but it's message world. Yeah, this is what's going to happen worldwide now. Everything, the fuse might be over there. They might be starting to sizzle over there, but trust me, it's coming to America. We have to be on top of ourselves, again, on the mental, physical, and spiritual level, which we're going to feel the tightening up of the belt. We're going to feel different things. You see what I mean? So you can't get away from it, but you want to minimize it, right? Indecisiveness, struggling to make decisions, even on simple matters, due to fear of making the wrong choice or being overwhelmed by options. That means you're drained out mentally. You know, I mean, it's not like you can just immediately, if you have to pick between 5 things on certain options, like, okay, I got it, boom, it's this, think them out, but attack it, focus on it. If you say, hey, I'll do this in an hour, and you go to a quiet place and think about it. But right now should not be the time to procrastinate or be indecisive. But if you are, then you know that we're a bit drained here. Emotional detachment. Feeling disconnected from your emotions or the people around you, often as a way to cope with mental stress. Yeah, that's something I notice in many people that I've known in my life. It's like, wait a second, you would think that they're cold or whatever. They just detach themselves. And that's a bad sign, because I remember when I used to work in the prison, an inmate would detach themselves and not come out in the day room or start giving stuff away that was precious to them. That was a sign that they're about to commit suicide, that they don't even care about life anymore. You see what I mean? So that detachment can lead into other things, which is not good. Number 10, burnout, a state of mental, emotional, and physical exhaustion caused by prolonged stress, leading to a lack of motivation and energy. It doesn't get any worse than that. Burnout. It's like a car that's totaled and the insurance company writes it off. There you're going to have to really make an effort and ask for help, professional help also. But to the close people that you know, let them know what's going on with you so they can understand and come around you and help you out with little things. If you know somebody who you suspect of being burnt out, you're not going to say, excuse me, are you burnt out? They're not even going to think that way because they're going through it. They won't even want to admit that they are. So they even use that word to them. Earth Angel, welcome. Grand evening. I'm trying to keep with the chat room, right? But I'm glad everybody's here. And I was determined to do the show tonight. Yes, yes. Now we get into the physical part. Physical signs of imbalance. Fatigue, persistent tiredness that doesn't go away with rest, often resulting from overexertion or poor sleep. See, you can get the proper amount of hours, and it may fluctuate depending on your schedule, depending on your mindset. You know, sometimes we have such a reserve tank built up and we're excited about what we're going to do the next day if we have it off, and we'll get up off for 5 hours of sleep or 4 hours of sleep because we have a full tank and we're topped off with the rest, which you can up. But that fatigue that never goes away, that's like a domino effect because it goes into other parts of our life. Now we just may be indecisive. We just may procrastinate even more. You got to get your rest. And that's funny coming from me because although I would stay up late, one thing about me though, I will make sure to sleep a little late to make up for it. But I do like my sleeping hours to be pretty much close to it with the sun. Waking up with the sun, going to bed with the sun. And of course now I'm up a little later, but that's okay because I rested all day today. I had some other fellows coming over doing work. Another brother came over and helped me out with some yard work. And I just light things today. And I researched the topic and took my time. I said, I'm going to do it before I go to bed, but I'm not going to push myself because I am feeling a little bit of fatigue in me. And it's only because I'm unsettled. But see, you got to know the reasons why also. Like even when you have something that you're going to do, don't think I'm going to power through this whole thing. It doesn't work that way. Like, okay, for me, the guys that have been working here, I trust them. I got to know them real good. And they came here and lived here for a month and a day from July 1st to August 2nd, right? And they were sleeping in the basement and the place isn't done. They were on the couch. But to go all the way home where they live way, way far away, it doesn't make any sense. They would get up from 6 o'clock because they were here for business. 6 in the morning, start working. They got up early to get something to eat, make the breakfast. And they'd work from 6 in the morning to like 10 at night. But they knew this ahead of time. And so I'm quite sure they said, you know what? When this is over, we'll probably take a week or two off because they put in some hours. They were just workhorses. So when you know ahead of time, try to balance it out by having something planned. Okay, I'm going to push myself this next 2 weeks really hard. I know I'm going to be fatigued, but you know what? I plan 3 nights or 4 nights at this particular resort. Or if you can't afford it, I'm going to stay home. Before I stay home those 3 or 4 days, I'm going to go to my favorite restaurant and I'm going to take my time and eat and get my favorite book and listen to my favorite music. And I won't hear nothing from nobody. I'm muting my phone. I know who to contact, but I'm not going to take extra calls. You have to have your own world. You have to have your sense of self, because if you don't, you're no good for anybody else. Zenovia, whoa, how are you? Yes. Thank you for coming on in. Yes. Haven't seen your beautiful face in a while, but I know my schedule's been jumpy and everything like that. But I'm glad to see you here. Just like these names, I see the names, I see the faces. I'm happy about that, right? Next is frequent illness, getting sick often, which may indicate a weakened immune system due to stress or poor lifestyle choices. A lot of folks don't realize that. They're making themselves weak. I knew a guy, I'm not going to call out his name. He's probably not even watching this show anyway. I hope he's still alive. He's only about a few years older than me. And I knew him from back in the 90s. And so he was like a friend of a friend, so to say. So he used to come around, watch the boxing matches and stuff like that. But he was a heavy drinker. He was a heavy smoker. And I kind of suspected it, but he was a serious cocaine addict. He didn't do crack, but, well, I mean, come on now. Well, I don't do crack. I can do everything else. No, that's no good. And he was always sickly. He was always in the hospital. And he was like, Lance, I don't know why. I'm like, how do you not know why? I didn't say it to him like that, but I said, brother, you're beating down your system. Try staying away from these substances. Wean off, even if you can't do it cold turkey. But you're going to get older, and your body's like a rubber band. It will back. It's made to heal itself. But if you keep pulling the rubber band, pow, after a while, it's going to snap. Let me take a quick sip of this water. With a little lime and lemon juice in it, always does the trick. Weight fluctuations, sudden unexplained weight gain or loss, often linked to emotional eating or neglecting nutrition due to stress. Me, myself, I'm kind of going lean a few weeks and not eating as heavy. I was eating heavy, but eating lighter than I've been. And so right now for me, I eat when I'm hungry a little bit, just a little bit. Today I didn't much. Today I didn't do much, even though I did things earlier with the fellas that were here. It wasn't much to like make me, oh my God, I'm so hungry. I'm drained. It's like I'm just topping it off. But then when you have those fluctuations like that, you got to understand it might be emotional eating. Then you get into the binge purge thing, or you just don't eat at all because of stress. And I can understand it because you have someone in your family that may have unexpected illness, or you might take a loss. You get that phone call, the loved one has passed away, or, we don't want to think about those things, but these things can happen. And again, we have to support each, because when you know somebody who's going through that, just to say, oh, I'm sorry, my condolences, whatever. No, if you're a friend of them, that when you really know them close, go over by them. Say, hey, listen, I'm not going to bother you. I just want to be here to kind of help clean up, help cook a little bit, bring some groceries of what they like. They may not even go food shopping because of this emotional thing they're going through that makes them eat because their mind is elsewhere. Sometimes when you're going through certain types of stress, and it doesn't have to be where it's a loss of a loved one, cooking a meal can be the hardest thing in the world for some people. Taking a shower, simple things can be challenging for most, but for some, the hardest thing in the world. I've known people who have gone through certain losses and, finding their mates cheating on them, whatever it may be, and they just lay down. The only thing they get up and do, thank God, is to go and use the restroom by themselves. I can't help you with that one. I could, but, that's better off if they take care of that, the cleaning process. But I've known people not to wash for days, not to really eat for days. They'll eat a handful of peanuts and sip a little water, and that's it for them because they're not thinking about it. So we have to make sure to reinforce each other. We can be strong, but we may have a weakened, I'm not saying weak, but a weakened link in the chain in our social circle. And instead of just calling them and being on the phone, go over to them. And when you buy the house, if they may say, hey, I'm really not up for any company. Well, listen, I want to do something for you, okay? I'm coming back with some groceries, a couple snacks. And if you notice that, I want to help straighten up a little, out here, maybe not your bedroom. You want to have, sometimes people want to have their comfort zone not sterilized. You know what I mean? But and I don't mean sterilized where you really go in there and like it's dirty and funky, but be their comfort zone. The bed not made up and they go back into bed. On an unrelated issue, it's like me. When I start drawing a picture on the table, on my desk, whatever area I designate for that, Mr. Scurv, I say, listen, I know you're very clean and you help and clean out and straighten out, but the way I leave these pencils and the way I leave the pad and everything, leave it like that till tomorrow when I come back, because that's my little camp. I know where the pencils are. I take them out of my little case, and now I can move easy. It helps me to get back into it faster. But if it's straightened up and everything perfect, now I got, oh man, I got to look at this and look at that. So people are different on the psycho level, and dealing with them is different. So if you know you're good friends or whatever, just be a help, but don't be a bother, because sometimes they just want to be left alone. If you feel that it may be a situation where they might be suicide, then you want to stick close, but you don't want to put it to them and, well, I think you're suicidal, and I think I need to be. You don't want to alert them like that. What I've done in the past, I've feigned a problem of my own. I've faked a problem of my own, so they're looking at me like, huh? You feeling bad too? And so when I get around them, they don't feel like I'm probing. They've even tried to help me in my imaginary issue in their weakened state, which took their mind away from what they were going through. You see what I mean? So there's all kind of tricks of the trade that you can do to pull that person in that red zone when they're down. Muscle tension, chronic pain or tightness in muscles, especially in the neck, shoulders, and back, often caused by stress and poor posture. You're sitting down a lot, you're slumping your seat, you get up. Really, one of the things to know how to do is to stretch. And I don't mean just stretch your arms to the side, left and right, and whatever, but be able to extend your back. You might hear a few cracks. That helps out a whole lot. And even regular visits to the chiropractor. But I want to tell you one thing about chiropractors. People say in the medical community, the unwritten rule is like, oh, chiropractors, they're quacks. They're not really real doctors. Let me tell you something. Many are. And maybe I'll say, I'm not going to call them a quack. I'll say most are not as effective. If you get a chiropractor, please get yourself a sports chiropractor, one who will give you the manipulations and realign your spine, when you hear them crack it up, just like they have now on the internet to YouTube. They have these chiropractors who they administer treatments, and I guess they put the microphone close to the back of the person. You can hear the cracks. Click, click. Oh my God. They thought it hurt. Oh my God, I felt so good because you didn't realize the tension that you were walking around with. Like even now, I'm cracking my back. I do this all the time. I'm addicted to it. I probably do it like 50 times a day. Just stretch, crack, stretch, crack. People say, oh, well, it's not good. But if you go a natural range of motion and not setting yourself up to mess your back up and jerk it or whatever, that's a bad thing. But really stretch your back, get into your body and know when you feel those the tension in your shoulders and your back, that it might be just you need to stretch, you know? Digestive issues, problems like bloating, constipation, or diarrhea can signal that your body is reaching to stress or reacting to stress from an unhealthy diet. Because, you know, we're on the go. And in the bigger cities especially, there's all kind of offerings on the way. Let me go over there and get some of those cookies out of the bakery. And they taste good. And certain things may dehydrate you where you can't go to the bathroom. One thing is, whatever you do, number one, always hydrate yourself. Hydrate yourself with water. You want to stay away from soda. You know, that's weird, right? About 3 weeks ago, I craved a can of soda. And I got it. And I was like, why did I drink that? And so you know better and you just do something. You say, well, I did it. I don't feel good about it. But you have to be honest with yourself, you know? But be on top of things. Always make sure, because most of the time when you can't go to the bathroom and you're constipated, you're dehydrated. And then you're overworking your kidneys because you're dehydrated, which can double as lower back pain. You're like, where am I getting the lower back pain from? It's your kidneys overworking. Even still, you could be hydrated and there's too much sugar and different things that the kidneys have processed and you feel those pains. So learn to read the signs on your body. See, the human body doesn't have a dashboard like a car. Gifty, I see you on Gifty Sine in the house. Your body doesn't have a dashboard. You know, you don't have a check engine light, but you can read the signs of your body. You know, I'm not here to judge and say, oh, well, whatever. We all do different things. Like I said, it's better than my old friend who was sniffing coke and getting drunk and smoking and wondering why his immune system was weak. And right, we do little things, right? We treat ourselves to little things. So it's not like you have the check engine light on or the oil is low or my alternator's bad, but we have to look at the signs of the body. You know, the swelling of the feet might mean some things, high blood pressure. You know, you wake up in the morning, especially the morning now, and you look in the corner of your eye and you got this big wad of cottage cheese in there where you're doing something a little too much and your body's trying to throw it off. See, your body just doesn't get rid of waste products back there all the time. It comes out in your skin. It comes out in your breath. It comes out in your eye. Those are our dashboards that we look to see what's going on with our body, but we're never taught that. When you look back at your stool, there's nothing wrong with that. You're supposed to do that. That's care. They had a episode of Dr. Oz. And this is nothing new. Dr. Oz takes a lot of things from old black grandmamas, I'm telling you, and he regurgitates it away where it's about Dr. Oz. He had a program where I thought it was like 10 types of stools. Maybe it was 6, maybe it was 8, but it was a certain amount where, and we need to know this stuff. We're adults now, right? It's like, oh, I don't want to talk. No, we got to know because that's your body telling you things from what comes out of you. Your urine, if you're dehydrated, it'll be a thicker color because the waste that's coming out in your, it's going to be thicker, less water. And what comes out, loose, certain colors, whatever, it tells you things. These things can be, I'm not going to sit here and turn this into the crap show, but in general, what these things mean. Because most of the time when we go to a doctor, I'm not going to say it's too late, but we've been walking around not well for a while in denial and not knowing how to read our physical dashboards. See what I mean? So that's another thing. Lack of physical activity, a sedentary lifestyle with little to no exercise, leading to weight gain, muscle weakness, and energy levels. Yeah, It doesn't mean you have to put the rocky music on 5 o'clock in the morning and drop a raw egg in a in a glass. Raw eggs are no good for you. So don't even try it. It sounds macho. It sounds good. Don't do it. Right. But just regular moving around. It doesn't have to mean you're running a marathon, even if you're not going to a gym per se, but stretch. Look at every part of your body. Move your fingers, flex your forearms, flex your biceps, triceps, move them around, break a sweat doing some stuff. Put on some music from whatever era you identify the most with and dance. Dance. I know some people that use Zoom and they have dance parties and they put the camera up in front of them. And these are people who go back decades and they grew up together. And these women, they dance, right? And don't put the sound on their thing, but they're watching each other. You know, it's kind of weird looking, right? But that's their way of motivating themselves. And they say, we're going to do this for 30 minutes. And they're laughing at each other. Girl, you still got the moves. Don't bend down too much with them knees. Get up. Ha, 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 ha. Whatever it takes to move. You can be in one room living with no gym, no space. You can move around in that room, even if it's the winter time. But just talk to certain parts of your body to move them and feel them and give yourself, like they call it, pre-flight before the plane takes off again. Every time the plane lands, the pilot doesn't say, well, it ran pretty good already, so it's good. No. Every time before that plane takes off, they're supposed to check every single thing about that plane, a pre-flight. You should do that. Car, walk around, make sure the tires are not flat, make sure there's no vandalism. The same thing with your body. You're laying down, you should not just jump up. You may have to be to work a certain time on, right? Try to get where you can actually wake up rested before the alarm goes off. Instead of like, oh God, I stayed up till 12:30. Now it's 5. I'm tired. This has been the same way. And that's a good way of running your body down. And that may be a physical thing, but it can run you down mentally and spiritually. And if something happens that's traumatic, you're not ready. You have to keep you strong. Poor skin health, breakouts, dryness, and other skin problems that can be caused by stress, poor diet, or inadequate self-care. The skin is the biggest organ on the body. It's going to tell you the most. Different things. If it's dry, hydrate. Not, well, I'm going to drink 2 glasses of water and I'm good. It's an accumulation of hydration. Drink a little more and be consistent. Leave the soda alone because that can dehydrate you. You're pulling out of yourself. See? You're putting in sugar. Just go pure for a while. I know you can have withdrawal symptoms on certain things, but it's necessary. Because once you break free, you're going to feel so much better, right? Addictions, dependence on substances like caffeine, alcohol, or drugs to cope with stress, which can lead to physical and psychological harm. We just finished talking about that. It may take you away for a while. You know, coffee drinkers here, I'm quite sure they want that caffeine in the morning when they wake up. People who drink alcohol a lot, you can sip it every now and then. Like, I can't knock you, but if it becomes anything that becomes an addiction, it's bad. Going to the gym and working out hard and freaking out when you can't make it, that's not discipline. That's an addiction. Everything with imbalance. Where if you can't do it, you say, well, I'll take it in stride. I'll rest up tonight. And speaking about that, one thing I told a person, they were asking me about training and all that stuff. They know I know a little bit about that stuff. And they were saying, you know, let's schedule, I'm doing 6 days straight, 1 day off. I'm like, well, you know, at your level, you're just starting. I don't want to get too much into detail, but it was too much for him, right? Unless you went for a short time where you didn't stress yourself, but very intense. I said, one thing, the creator made it where it was a little difficult for those who want to go to the gym because he made 7 days. Not 8, not where you can go 3 days on, 1 day off, 3 days on, 1 day off. That your days that you go in will shift on certain body parts. I told him, I said, listen, well, how do you feel when you get back to the gym? And I'm kind of dragging in because, you know, the other workouts. And then I said, you're not ready. I don't care what the piece of says. I don't care what the schedule says. You go to the gym, you should be raring to go, which means you recuperated properly. Without proper recuperation, you're doing yourself a disservice. It's like not sleeping and you're burning your body down. And so that's how people think that may go there, because no pain, no gain. You got to push through it, but you have to know what kind of pain is the proper pain and what's not. Going to the gym tired, run down. You got to be raring to go. You got to be happy when you're doing this thing. You can touch the weights and you're going and you know, whatever you're doing. Doesn't have to be just weights, but you should be enthused to go. If not, yeah. Because of course you got to work. You have family things to do. You got to do all the normal things. You got to wash the dishes, wash the clothes, all this stuff. And really and truly, the priority when you do go to the gym is not your muscle. Oh yeah, for you it is. But when you eat food, it doesn't go to recuperate your muscles right away, right? It goes to your brain, your heart. All the systems in your body must be replenished and nourished. And then after all of that, it'll say, okay, there's a depleted muscle. Let's replenish it and give it the muscle glycogen it needs to be full to, serve. But we don't think about that. Shortness of breath, experiencing difficulty breathing or feeling breathless during normal activities, often linked to stress or poor physical fitness. Yeah. Stress can do that too. Stress can make you think that you have some type of sickness or ailment that doesn't exist as just stress. So to back up sometimes, and even just take a couple of hours, you have something to do in your schedule where you're backed up and you say, you know what, I am going to take these 2 hours to make myself better, to be able to rip through the work that I have in front of me, as opposed to just dragging through it. Replenish yourself, back away, take a break between rounds. Imagine how boxing would be if there was no break between rounds. The fight might last 10 minutes, 8 minutes. Themselves out with no recuperation. That's the way we have to think. You have large breaks and you have little breaks. Now here we are with the spiritual signs of imbalance. And that is, let me see if this computer's stuck. What is going on with the electronics tonight? Okay, yeah. Lack of purpose, feeling lost, unfulfilled, or questioning the meaning of life, which may indicate a disconnection from your spiritual path, like a train that derails. There's really nothing wrong with the train. It just derailed. Sometimes we get derailed in our purpose and we think something's wrong with us. You ever put your car on a lift at the mechanic shop? Well, if you go on and start and mash the gas, you're not going to go anywhere. Why? The tires are not touching the ground. You got to get the tires back on the ground, and you have to take yourself from being derailed, and it's okay. And all times when it's derailed, aside from, and more than derailing, it could have flipped over. That's worse. So always check yourself. Always know where your mental, physical, and spiritual blip is on the radar screen. That's a term that I use. And for some reason, I'm getting more and more dehydrated, and I'm going to take another sip. Give me 15 seconds, and I'll be right back. Gift said, Celtic salt, yes, is great for hydration. You drink a couple of pebbles with water and you get magnesium and all the nutrients you need so the water can be absorbed. Brilliant. Thank you, Gifty. Sorry so long. I'm going to put that up. Willie Rivers, welcome on in. I didn't look over that way. Who else is new? Well, we're all pretty much here, and I acknowledged everybody. And Trey says, thirst can also disguise itself as hunger. So make sure to drink water first thing in the morning instead of eating right away. That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a veteran trick right there. And also to get into that, by the time you feel thirsty, you're already on your way to being dehydrated. Like, sip even before you get thirsty, because that mechanism is like a delay, you know? Let me see. Giant Gain says, like having to pre-trip that bus before leaving the garage. Right. Or else they're going to ask you, why didn't, well, see, you know what? When I drove, I didn't drive in the morning first. I took one that was already in transit, and I was usually the last one. So they would have to tell me what was up. Sometimes they wouldn't. I would find out. But usually by the end of the day, you have to tell now when you bring it back to the base, this is wrong with it. You put that on your maintenance sheet so the mechanics can see that. I didn't forget. It's been years, but you know, certain things you don't lose out on. Yes, indeed. Let me get this other mouse. Oh, the breeze outside feels so good. Right next to a window. And it's like banana trees and stuff. When the wind blows, it flaps. So it sounds like some big bird out there. And you know, I was sitting on the porch the other night. You know what I saw fly by? A condor. You know how big those things are with the wingspan out? Man, I hit that door so fast. It looked like a plane flying down low over me. I'm like, whoa. And it wasn't flapping. It just had its wings out. Like, its wings are so wide out. It's like, I'm trying to adjust my sight. Like, is it close? Is it far? It was close by and big. I'm like, I'm so glad it didn't come my way. I was so glad that in another life I would have had to wear diapers for that situation. Right? Okay, let me see. All right. Emotional instability. Experiencing extreme highs and lows, often feeling overwhelmed by emotions like anger, jealousy, or sadness. Yeah. It's like all over the place. And it doesn't mean the whole bipolar thing. Or am I bipolar because of this? No. The instability can be in a traumatic situation. It may be a slow burn of something going on with you that brings you to that point. But anger, jealousy, sadness, these are things we need to keep in check and control. But if we are feeling a little unstable, the highs and lows, it could be that way. I've seen people who are grieving. They're crying, then they start laughing. It's happened to me. I wasn't grieving. Like just different emotions, like take the same slot at the same time. So you're like, am I going crazy? I've seen that. I remember the show Eyes on the Prize. You know, keep your eyes on the prize, oh Lord. You know, when they had on Channel 13 PBS, and they had a documentary about the civil rights movement, and a woman who was actually doing that. She was laughing and she was crying at the same time. She was laughing at the irony of a situation, and she was crying at how sad it was. And she said, ain't that something? That's so funny. And it wasn't, I'm looking like, oh my God. Until it happened to me, right? Disconnection from nature. Spending little to no time in nature, leading to a feeling of disconnection from the world around you. Now, this is proven. This is something I read today, and it was a Japanese word that specifically addresses that. It was shikin yodu, something like that. I know I jacked it up. It doesn't even say, I know it was shinkin something, but it meant forest bathing. Forest bathing. Not going, taking a bath out in the forest, but just being in nature. And it's proven. And I read this, I didn't write down facts because I absorb so much stuff. But if I tell you that I read this and this is what they said, I'm not going to lie to try to sound smart. But with the things we know, our disconnection from nature has damaged us so far more than what we think. But again, you know, the concrete jungle, working, try our best to get the good food in. Those of us who try, we try our best to get our rest. We try our best to sometimes take a walk to the park. But I'll tell you from personal experience, coming up here in the mountains, wonders. It's like I'm a whole different person. I'm a whole different person, and I enjoy it. I enjoy the stillness of being out in nature. I love going way, 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 way down in the back and standing there, or just getting and sitting there and just feeling how still it can be and looking at nature around me. Because it's also the insects, it's also the birds, it's also everything else that we get energy from. This is what I discovered. And we know this deep down, that nothing beats nature. But it's just something about, what was the word that they use? Biodiversity. Just like you can be people who are like secret haters and you can feel it. But when you go out in nature, it adds something to you and something is given back. Like carbon dioxide, we breathe that out. We get the trees, right? Or the plants. Well, there are other things that happen with our presence out there. And when we're at peace with ourselves, or if we're not at peace with ourselves and we go out there, it's like it brings us back to balance. Not like I sat out there for 3 minutes and I'm balanced now. Okay. No, it doesn't work that way. But just to add this into finding a place where you can be tranquil and see some nature, just to bathe in it. One thing's for sure, there's so much nature behind my house that as it starts to get dark, I'm getting the heck up on out of there because all kind of things start coming out. Bit. I love nature, but I need a light out there, maybe at night, okay? Because there's all kind of insects. I saw a bird today, a bird that had a tail like about 1.5 feet, 2 feet behind. They were flying through. They jumped in. I was like, "What is that?" And one of them looked at me, and all three of them flew away. I'm like, "Oh man, I forget I'm in Africa." But that's the cool part of it, though. I'm around different things, vibration-wise, that I didn't have in America. And you can have the nature feel and forest bathe in America, but they're tearing down so many buildings. They're just making it hard. It's like there's something out there just trying to keep us from this thing that undergirds us so well, right? Yeah. Oh, no, it is breathtaking, Earth Angel. Oh, yes, it is. Yes, it is. Wow. And, I'm always share. That's what I'm here for. I mean, what good am I if I can't share? Look, we all have experiences in different areas of expertise, large and small. Like I said, we're a chain, we're connected. You might be real strong and I might be real weak. And it's the responsibility of the strong ones to help the weak ones collectively, not just one person do it. And then we got to keep each other strong. Because my strong link, because of what I might go through, might weaken, and I might need help. And just that feel. And even though they say technology is bad, the way we're using it is good. It's good. So there's good in everything. Loss of inner peace. Constantly feeling restless, anxious, or uneasy with no sense of calm or contentment. Wow. Wow. Loss of inner peace. That's, you got to keep yourself. That's an emergency to me. The loss of inner peace. One thing about me, growing up, things different. I'm growing up in New York City now. I'm not in the country or anything like that, but we made sure to get upstate and get into the country around fishing. My father would take us and, go out in the country and just enjoy that. But it wasn't like I'm enjoying it now every day when I wake up. But that loss of inner peace is a bad thing. I would find myself going to bookstores. I always had friends. We would always go and hang out, but lots of times I would just go by myself. I wasn't a hermit or a reclusive person, but I was always a get up and go person. I would always check my friends. Hey, you want to go? Let's go out to the city. Yeah, man, I'm going to stay home. I'm going to play basketball. I'm like, all right, no problem. I'm not mad at you, but I got to go. And the inner peace that I had while I took my time and walked through the streets of Manhattan on a lazy Sunday, maybe a Saturday where it's hectic. I say, oh, there's a new bookstore over there. Then I would take my time and go look at some books, and maybe go over to a restaurant that I like and experiment and go to a new restaurant. I go to the music store, where they have all the music, the CDs at the time and everything, and just listen to music and here's something they played, right? That sounded good. And I would get to, hey, what's the name of that? And I would buy it, So free flowing, spending time with yourself, enjoying the inner peace with yourself. It makes you better for when you're around other people. I'm a little tired right now. We're going to finish this show. But the inner peace I had today, beautiful. I was actually up from early. Then I went and laid down a little bit. Again, got up, got a phone call, woke up again. I didn't really go all the way to sleep, but I was doing what I call drifting. Drifting to me is like when you wake up, but you're not all the way up and you sink back into sleep. You're between worlds. You're between that deep sleep and just barely being awake. And you're right there, like something floating below the surface of the water, but it doesn't break the water and come up. It's just right there. And so you drift in that state. And it comes a point where you stay at in that zone for so long and something clicks. It's not a quick sound, but then it's like, boom, everybody says, okay, that's enough. Because what we got to realize is that when we jump up, our brain may not be awakened as it should be. It takes time to wake the brain up. So the gentleman who came today early to help me cut down the yard and the certain weeds, different things, he called me from outside because my gate locks. You're not just going to walk up in here, right? So I jumped up, said, I'm coming. And I don't know what I was telling him when I opened it up, and he started laughing. He says, you need to go back to sleep. I was like, good morning, man. You know, over there, we got to do this, we got to do this. And you know, that show I did the other day, and he said, look, because he listens, but it's like, you jumping all over the place. He said, man, go back to sleep. And I realized, I said, yeah, you're right. The only amount of time that you should wake up when you come out of a deep sleep is to have enough consciousness to go to the bathroom. God granted you that. You go to the bathroom, sleep, and realize, I did go to the bathroom, didn't I? You know what I mean? It's okay to do that, you know? Let me see here. Yeah, it is. It is. No, yeah. It's 1 minute before midnight. 11:59. No, it's okay. It's okay. I know I have to wake up and do some things. I have to wake up and let the gentleman back over. I got a run to do tomorrow. Tomorrow's a free-flowing day. I know Neil Frazier's no, it's not. I'm going to be interviewed on TikTok by my brother from Kenya, and we did the show last week. I wanted to get a link so I can upload it to YouTube and stuff so you can hear it. And I don't know, I still have not mastered TikTok. So if there was a way, I'm going to have to either get the link and share it, or when I get on, record it. I'm going to have to record that. It's going to be me and him. He's going to be asking me some questions. I told him to go deep. You know what I mean? So it's going to be a whole different zone. And I think that may be like 11 a.m. for me because we got the times wrong last week. Because I'm thinking it was like, I said, yeah, 4 o'clock or 2 o'clock my time. But he's in, oh God, where is he? I think he's in Kuwait. So I got to figure it out. It's definitely tomorrow. So I think it's like 11, but I'm going to text him in the morning and say, hey, let me know and send me the link because I'm going to do it over the phone. But if I can, I'll pipe it into my equipment and record it. And then I'll upload it. You know, that's not a problem because we're going to get down. When I'm interviewed, it's a whole different, not a whole different one, but I'm going to give you the answers plus more, whatever it is that you ask me, right? Neglect of spiritual practices, ignoring practices that nurture your spirit, such as meditation, prayer, or reflection, leading to a sense of spiritual void. Okay, leading to a sense, well, that's not void where you're empty, but void where you're void of issues. And it doesn't have to be, how can I say it? Some strict religious practice. It's just finding yourself away from the distractions, connecting with yourself, you know, and something that you do that you like to do, that it could be eating a certain fruit under a certain tree. There's a young lady that I've done shows with before, and I'm going to bring her on, and she's a nurse, and she has a diverse background. She used to be a pole dancer at one time, and she's a nurse, mother, wife, whatever. I say this not to put her down or to put her business out. She tells you this stuff, and she has all of this wisdom. Right? And so a friend of mine came from New York down to Orlando, and we were hanging out. And he drives trucks. He's a teddy bear to most, but he can be a rough guy when you mess with people in this tribe. You know what I mean? He's better than the police, right? And we went to meet her because she used to come on the shows before I was on YouTube doing shows. I used to be on Blog Talk Radio, and she used to listen. And so she's like, "Why don't you and Mrs. Scurv and your friend or whoever else come meet me?" Mrs. Scurv couldn't make it, so she said, "Go ahead and meet her." So we met and we hung out at the park, a particular park in Orlando. And so she told us about the benefit of tree hugging. Number of white folks around, right? It didn't matter, right? I'm just saying, here we are, the only black folks in there hugging trees. But it felt good. And even my friend who was like, "Man, she's on some serious SHIT." And he didn't say it derogatory, but she started laughing because she has a little potty mouth when she wants. And we enjoyed that. And now I got little trees in the back. You know, if somebody has a drone or fly, hey, what the hell Lance doing with the tree? Is he humping on the tree or something? No, I'm hugging the tree. Like Mrs. Scurv talks to the plants. I'm inside the house and I'm looking like her cell phone is right here on the table. Who's she talking to? But I knew this from Orlando, so it wasn't a big shock. She has full conversations. You know, she might step on a leaf or something or part of a root. "Oh, I'm sorry." And she'll stroke the tree like rubbing the little baby's face. But them bad boys grow. They grow. When she deals with these plants, they grow. And it's an exchange. And that's one of the spiritual practices that she does. You see what I mean? So that's a beautiful thing. The next one, moral compromises. Making decisions that go against your values or principles, leading to guilt, shame, or spiritual disconnect. This is why no matter what industry you're in, you never let go of your moral standards. They may offer you more money to do certain things or whatever. No, it's about what you feel on the inside. If they want to let you go, to hell with them. Because at the end of the day, it's what you held on to. Because everybody, I'm not going to say everybody, but now we have more people who are just straight up whores in the world who will throw their morals out the window just for a piece of paper or more status in their mind that's fleeting. I was looking at a video about Bob Hope, the entertainer, the white guy, years ago. Yo, that guy was not innocent. That guy was a serious womanizer. And he was evil with it too. He had his wife, but he had this girlfriend, a grown woman, and Bob Hope was tearing up half of Hollywood. And so that woman he met on the side, she was into extracurricular activities with other women, and Bob Hope really went for that. He burnt it out so much, she didn't want to do that stuff no more. And he said, "Well, you better stay here and you better watch." He was off the chain. But all I'm saying is that that's how he was, but he knew how to switch it up and appear so innocent to the world. Bob Hope of all people. Bob Hope. He was a shark. If he saw a woman he wanted, he was going after her, subtly aggressive. Like if you're sitting there, you're like, he ain't doing nothing, but he's on it. And a lot of famous actresses, you know, so they were saying that in a way, not in a homosexual way, but they were saying he was the first Diddy. And I beg to differ, because you had Rock Hudson doing the other rainbow stuff, and he was crazy with that stuff. You see how he ended up, right? Isolation, withdrawing from community or spiritual gatherings, leading to a sense of loneliness and spiritual isolation. Yeah. Whether you do it on purpose or that's just the circumstances. You know, me growing up in New York City, I tell Mrs. Scurv, like every now and then I say, "Come on, let's go on down to Accra." "Oh, I'm a little tired." You know, she's a country girl. She grew up just like where we live now, even more isolated in a way. So every now and then, at least every 2 weeks, I got to be around crowds. I got to be around people. I know how to shield myself against the negative energies, but I just got to be around that because that's part of my upbringing, you know, and I don't need it. And I actually like the country life, but in my transition here, I still need to get around people tell jokes and make small conversation, even with strangers sometime, and just flow that way. When I come back, I'm like, I can stay in the house for another week and a half, 2 weeks, provided, and I don't do it that long. I still go out to do things, pick things up or take a walk or whatever. But that wind is blowing. Wow. Not hard, but it ebbs and it flows. And sometimes those leaves on the banana trees, like it's a big bird flying. Materialism, placing too much importance on material possessions or external achievements, neglecting spiritual growth and fulfillment. I was never materialistic, never. Although in my life I've had nice things, although in my life there are times I had a lot more money than I do now. Like I said, it ebbs and it flows, but I've never been materialistic. But since being here and away from even the thoughts of thinking about things material, like say, for example, I'm not seeing, like, if I go to the road, I'll see all kind of cars, luxury cars too, right up here in the mountains, driving through. There's a lot of affluent people that live up in this general zone, that their houses are tucked away, that look like mansions. And they will drive something through. Like if I'm waiting on the van, I'm like, whoa, look at that vehicle. You know what I mean? Like, what are they doing around here? I mean, they have a right to live up here, but I'm isolated from seeing these things. And when I see these things, it's not like, oh, I can't live until I have this. I have to have this. Hope Rice, the only rice I F's with. That's right. How are you? I just saw you in. I got one computer I'm reading from, and the chat room is on the other one, so my head's on a swivel. Oh God, my water's running low. I don't want to get up from this desk to go get more, but I got a little bit more. Let me take another sip. 10 seconds, y'all. Yeah, so that's it on a materialistic level. I'm so far away from that. Me, I'm glad to have a body. I'm glad to have a brain. I'm glad to have feet and hands, and I'm so appreciative of the basic things, which are really the things that are, because man can't replicate a body. You know, man can't replicate eyesight. Man can't replicate certain things. So on a base level, I'm appreciative of what I have. I have no urge to, I'm not knocking anybody who wears a little adornment or jewelry or something like that. I have no need to put anything on. I never really did. Only times I did is when I was like, kind of like, not, I never followed the crowd, but like, okay, this is what everybody's doing. Let me get a little bracelet, right? Boom, let me put this on. But I feel as though that I don't knock them, but if you are, don't let it take you over. Don't let it make you feel as though if you don't have that particular item materially, you know, just, oh, the girls may, ladies may, I gotta get that handbag. Now, you might like the handbag, get it. If you've been working hard, like I have no problem against anybody having their luxuries. If that's something you want and you worked hard for it and that's you, fine. I'm not gonna say, oh, you shouldn't buy anything for yourself. I'm just on some old, you know, man up in the mountains type basic stuff. And I love it because I'm not feeling any pressure. Not that I ever did, because I always dance to the beat of my own drum. Or whatever level you find yourself on, just don't let the materialistic things take you over. Fear of the unknown, an overwhelming fear of death, change, or the future, often stemming from a lack of spiritual grounding. That's what it is, lack of spiritual grounding. And I think I'm spiritually grounded, but I tell you, when that van took me 15 miles down the road, past where my road is to walk into my house, once you get past that, it's pretty much of nothing. You have little streets that go off into not subdivisions, but little villages or little collections of homes, properties, but there ain't no street lights. And when I had to walk up there, it wasn't like I had those particular fears, right? Fear of death, change, in the future. I'm spiritually grounded. I could be that more that way. But I ain't gonna lie, I was scared. I was scared, not just of the black night, but the clouds were out and you can see the grayish, but it was black, but it was grayish. And the trees that were in front of you, it was like I felt their energy. I'm telling you, the trees are alive. They have a presence. They have an awareness. They don't have any brain, but they were so looming over the road. And when I realized I'm not scared of trees in the daytime, but out there by myself, I can feel their energy. And there was nothing. And it was the most of nothing that I've experienced in this life. And it was like so far to walk. These 2 heavy reinforced grocery bags. I was contemplating them, just putting them off on the side of the road or just laying out. My legs were hurting, cramping. It was strange. I was so glad to get home. When I got home, the couch was there. I just laid down on the ground. I was so glad to be home. But it's not that kind of fear. But some people, for no reason, walk around feeling that way. You never know who feels empty and hopeless. They can be playing the game. Hey, how you doing? Oh, I'm all right. Everything's fine. And you find out they put a bullet in their head later on. And you realize that what they were saying wasn't true. And again, going back to what I said earlier, we've got to look at the signs. We got to look back at what people are hiding. Because in America, most of us, I'm not saying anybody here, but we front, put up a facade. And rightfully so in most times. For folks that go to church, I'm not going to church and tell my business. I want to know well, it's not serving the purpose, and then it's not real. Even though we know most of it, sometimes it's not real. It's also like women who go to the hair salon and their hair's so jacked up from the last time they did it, they do their hair before they go get their hair done. Now that's crazy to me. I ain't pulling this off in front of nobody. They ain't gonna see my hair. Come on. Stop worrying about people. Next, despair. A deep sense of hopelessness or depression, often resulting from a disconnection from your spiritual beliefs on purpose. Yeah, I know people who are in perpetual depressions. It's like a tire that's stuck in the mud and you're not getting out. Unless you stick something under that tire, get somebody to help to push. And even when you push, you're going to have to rock it back and forth. It's not easy to come out of that. And the world as it is not going to offer you any solution for that with all the despair and doom that they put on the news and no good news. It's just, and people that come around you who are negative. You know, there's always that person that comes around you and they seem to know when you're going through something or depressed or whatever. I remember I had gone through stuff, it was 30 years ago, and there's always that one friend that was, everything all right? I'm like, now she knows everything's not all right because I done told her about it, right? What I was going through, you know? And she had a way of making you feel like she would say things that, and this was a platonic friendship, she would say things that were nurturing and caring, but it was almost like the way she was, like she was getting off on it. Like she's kind of enjoying you, like going through like emotional pain or something, because her words didn't resonate anything. You know what I mean? It's like you know, it's like, okay, you fall down, you break your leg. Now your leg is broken. You fell off the bike. You just broke your leg. You're laying there. Versus, oh my God, you broke your leg. How does it feel? Is it really hurting? Huh? Oh, it really looks bad. Your leg is twisted around. Like, why don't you shut up? You're not bringing me any comfort. I broke my leg and it's hurting. Why? Well, you going down a checklist or something? There are people like that who want to dissect everything you're going through, but they're not offering any soothing words. They just want to find out. Or they just want to know that you're going through something worse so they can feel better about their stuff that they're going through that they'll never tell you about. Wow. That's crazy. Let's get to the solutions, right? Mental balance solutions, because we did the signs and red flags, everything else mentally, physically, and spiritually. So we're going to go down a little bit on the list. Matthew White in the house. Welcome, welcome, brother. Let me look up on this list. I hope I didn't miss nobody. Yeah, let me see. Cranes are smooth, sneaky. I know. They had some in Orlando, and I was walking down the street in the wee hours going to the first shift, early shift. They had called me for overtime because I worked the middle shift, and when I started, I worked the night shift. And there were two cranes standing there, and it's like they're not afraid of human beings, or maybe the ones that were there in Orlando, they fly around the bodies of water, so it didn't matter where they were. And I was walking past these like telephone poles, and they were standing next to it, and I was walking. I had my head down, but my eyes were looking straight. Every now and then I'd turn around because it was still dark. Man, I got right next to them things, and then I opened up and went, made some funny noise. I ran. I broke out running. And then all of a sudden, it was next to a red light where there were cars waiting for the light to change. It was one of my coworkers like, man, I saw you run. I said, don't tell nobody. Later on that day, every officer I passed by, hey, man, you see any cranes recently? I'm like, oh, you told. Number one, mindfulness meditation. Practice mindfulness to stay present and reduce overthinking. Focus on your breath and observe your thoughts without judgment. Really getting into yourself and cutting off the outside world. Another form of meditation. Set boundaries. Limit your exposure to negative news, social media, and toxic relationships that drain your mental energy. It does. And sometimes we're mentally malnourished, and we look to get nourishment from our indulgence through the phone, on the internet, Facebook, YouTube, and we're not putting anything. It's by our choices. I'm not saying you do this, but lots of times we go for the ratchet stuff. It's not doing anything for us. And you looked around and you flipped through like 13 different videos and 2 hours went by. Now you really feel bad, right? So you got to just have what I read about today. I think it was Quora. Quora. I don't know if you all know about that site, but it's an excellent site. And it pulls you out of, not that, and I'm not saying this about anybody here, but we have a tendency to stick to the things we enjoy and know. We don't really go off the beaten path. And that's where we learn, when we take ourselves from the comfort zone, even on an intellectual level, the intellectual comfort zone. So Quora is Quora. And you can ask questions on that site, and you have all these different people who will answer it and give their experience and thumbs it up, thumbs it down, all kind of stuff through history, current events, medical stuff, prison stuff, sports stuff, sex stuff, art, anything and everything. It's not a search engine. It's basically like a search engine of people. Like you have a big stadium and you say, hey, anybody know how to raise cranes in my yard? And you may have 3 people over there and you talk to them about it. It's really wonderful because it's expanded my thinking so much and my awareness of the world, which helps make for better conversation, right? So yeah, set the boundaries. Time management, very important. Prioritize tasks, break them into smaller steps, and allocate time for rest to avoid feeling overwhelmed. Like we said earlier, you got to know when you're going to stop. I say, oh, I'm so tired now. I've been doing this all day. But you know what? In 15 minutes, I have a 10-minute break or a 15-minute break. See, jobs do that. But when we're home working or on our own, we don't do that enough. Schedule some break time away. Do some time management. Because I beginning to now, I love doing what I do, but I love it so much. I will do it all night, all day, So when that studio is finished, I'm going to have to, because I'm going to love it down there. I want to show it off to everybody here. Not show off like a show off, but show it off. Like, hey, this is part of the journey. You know, I was in Orlando. We came out here. This was nothing but ground and bush and trees. And we tore it down and built this up. So here, check it out. You know what I mean? Like joyous that you're getting somewhere. But if you love what you do so much, it can be very destructive too. It can lead you to allocate time so much on one area that you suffer in other areas, you know? Yes, Matthew, I see you there, brother. Glad you're here. What's the next thing here? Yeah, positive affirmations. Replace negative self-talk with positive affirmations that reinforce your self-worth and capabilities, because there are a lot of slow leaks of negative energies that are masked as positive energies in your life that would drain you of your positivity. So you have to tell yourself. I know people that come with negative stuff. Okay, I'll say something like, a lofty goal that I have. Like 3 years from now, I'm going to get to this point. And then I count back from that. I see myself, this is my way of doing my positive affirmations. We all know our past. We're not going to change that. Whether we're in denial about it or not, or lie about it or not, we can't change our past. Hopefully we can learn from it. But the thing is, I like to project toward the future and work back from that. Visualization. When I used to go to bodybuilding competitions and I would size up the competition and I knew who I had to work hard against in my presentation on stage. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to get that first place trophy today. And I was realistic with it. Those guys beat me last time, but them two over there that beat me before, they're not beating me anymore. I'm going to get that. That's easy. But the visualization of the reality that you're going to be in and you want to be in is not just going to drop in your lap. And when you see it so clear, you're willing to sacrifice anything to get there. I don't mean anything. You get locked up overnight in the jail cell and there's some big bubba over there. Hey, you know you're looking kind of good. Well, that don't happen over here, buddy. But what I'm saying is that we need to have those affirmations in our mind. And sometimes when you state them to other people, they're there to tear it down. And if you got to go larger than life in your mind, fine. This is what my reality is going to be. The good life that you have, whether you have it yet or you had it and lost it, you can get it back. But it starts with your mind. And what do you have to do to get to that point? Not just a materialistic thing. It could be you're going toward, whether it is building a house or something, right? That's material, but we need to live somewhere, right? So that's cool. But what about the ascension of your awareness? That you want to be more aware of the world. Because even still, I was thinking the other day, a lot of us, okay, we live in America. I'm saying I'm over here, but I've lived there. I'm an American born there. So we tend to think only about what's going on around us in our world. And I don't mean this as a condescending thing to say our little world. I don't mean that. But if we're aware of the world around us, bigger, right? Now you have your circle of influence and your circle of concern. Your circle of influence, you can directly deal and influence those things. It's like when you reach your hands out, everything around you can touch, you can change those things, right? But you may be concerned about something beyond your influence. And that's why we have to be careful with those things, because if we can't affect it, don't freak out about it. So we have to compartmentalize those different things. But in that, expand your mind to know that right at this very moment, somewhere it's raining hard. Right at this very moment, it's the brightest of sunlight, and people are on the beach laughing. Some people are not even thinking about America. They're not thinking about Venezuela. They're not thinking, or they may have homes in each place. There's so many different arrays of reality out here that we can grab onto, that we can experience. But so many people are caught up with the past, their past. I'm not saying like, oh, you one of them Negroes now who talk about slavery don't matter. No, I'm not saying that. But from that is not just our life. Whatever trauma you've been through, you don't have to let it hold you. Yes, it happened. Yes, we don't have time machines to change things, but you can change the present and have a different future. And don't let nobody try to keep you in that past. Ball and chain you into. You might have been a person who was a streetwalker. You can always go up. You can always get better. You can always walk with righteous pride and dignity. And getting better doesn't just mean the material. It can be how you see yourself. Maybe family, they always put you down and you never knew why, because you had so much brilliance inside of you and they were envious of you going beyond them. Families can be something. We're going to talk about this week too. I don't know. I was all over the world, right? Mental detox. Take regular breaks from technology and engage in activities that calm your mind, such as reading or spending time. See, all this stuff loops back. I got drops in this bottle. I'm going to get it because my throat's getting dry. Give me 10 seconds, y'all. Be right back. I'm just into this lemon water. What the heck is wrong with me? Thank you, Hope Rice. It's a good subject. We need to reinforce ourselves. Now, you know, we're going to have some fun, right? And I'm going to bring the conference line. Matter of fact, at the top of this chat room, although I may be on there for 10 minutes because it's 12:27 for me right now. I'm not even looking at the time. But whoever wants to jump on for a little bit, we talk and it's uncensored or whatever. Hey, hi, how you doing? You know, impromptu. If it's kept, you know, I will put, it's not going to go on YouTube. I might put it on like the membership page or the Patreon or whatever. We can just let it all hang out and have for a little while until I doze off. Right? Yeah. So those technology-free days, when we can, if you're on call for a job or they have to maintain certain hours, you can't do it then. Sometimes, you know, what happened before we had cell phones? What happened? If I called a friend of mine's house, well, he's not in right now. What am I going to do? He's not in. I might have to check him. Then, you know, I got slick when I got my voicemail, my answer machine. You know, I check and see, you know, and then like close friends, I had got a second line and I gave them the codes to check the voicemails so that we can always keep in contact. Because I might leave this person say, hey, I'm going to be 15 minutes late. They'll call, they can go in, you know, but that was a separate line. That wasn't my back in the day private girlfriend line. They couldn't handle hearing that stuff. Physical balance solutions. Regular exercise. Now that's a no-brainer. I should just skip that one. I'm gonna read it. Incorporate physical activity into your daily routine, even if it's just a short walk. Boost your energy, reduce stress. Get out in the sunlight makes a big difference too. Even when you're working at home or even napping at home. Maybe you want to be in a dark room or something, but even nap like a cat in the sunlight. If it's by a window, could be cold as heck, but it's warm in the house and that sunlight hits you. Another trick that I learned to regulate your sleep, this is kind of like off topic, right? Get up in the morning time, even if that keeps you late, keep yourself connected to nature. What do I mean? Let's just talk real. If you get up to pee and it's 6 o'clock in the morning, 6:30, 7 o'clock, early, but you got to bed at 4, it may wake you up a little bit, but go by the window and stare at the sun. Stare at the sun. Then it makes you blink. It hurts. Stare at it again. And keep doing that for like 90 seconds or 2 minutes. Actually, resetting your biological to be connected more to the earth. And you got to do that before the day is over. When down, look at the sun. I don't know if it has something to do with the sun coming closer early and then the sun going away, but that really regulates the body's function. Because whether not, we go on at 12 noon, whatever your 12 noon is. Your 12 noon in the East Coast, America is not my 12 noon, right? But that's when your digestive system is at the strongest. And we don't know that. I'm not saying that you didn't know that. I've said this before. So there's a big connection we have to nature, not only just on the physical level, but spiritual level, on a mental level, to keep ourselves in line. And they don't teach this stuff in school. They don't. Balanced diet. We can skip that. Focus on a diet rich in whole foods, fruits, vegetables, and adequate to nourish your body and support raw health. See, we fall into the trap, but I've fallen into the trap too, of eating not to be hungry. Oh, I'm hungry. Let me get something to eat. That's the worst thing. If you're starving, I'm not going to knock you. You're driving state to state and you've been driving for a couple of states. And you're like, I just want to eat. I'll excuse you for that one. But nobody really says, well, and I have my, earlier today, I had 15 grams of protein, 50 grams of complex carbohydrates, a gram of essential fats. We don't have the dashboard, but we need to be what we need to eat. That this day, this is what I absorbed, and I need more of this. and not to go too hungry and not to stuff yourself too much. The trick is with the balanced diet, that's one thing. See, I've known people that, let's make it extreme. Well, I can eat this much today and I can eat this much tomorrow on how I'm eating. So 11:59, start eating that day's quota. And when you're done, well, it's a new day. And that was 20 minutes ago. Let me go eat again. No, you got to space it out. You can get sick that way, even if the food is good. That's a whole other. But already, adequate sleep. Establish a consistent sleep schedule, create a restful environment, and aim for 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep each night. And sometimes, if you throw a little trauma in there, something bothering you, whatever, it may be more. You ever lay down? Well, before you lay down, you say, let me lay down here for 30 minutes. I'm going to be half asleep, but I'm not going to really go to sleep. And you wake up 6 hours later. Like, your body was waiting for that chance to catch up on that sleep. Whatever your body asks for, just give it. It'll keep you looking and feeling younger for a long time. Just let your body take over. Sometimes I'm going to go to the park today. I'm going to go hang out with the fella. And you want to lay down? Go ahead and lay down. You wake up and you keep treating your body like this with the good food, the good rest. Even sometimes when I'm restless at night, a little late. So I'm like, man, I feel fatigued. I need to sleep. And as soon as my head hits the pillow, it's a wrap. And today, early, I said, I'm going to stay in the house and relax. I had a full night's sleep. A little bit was knocked off when I had to let my friend in. But I came back, got a little more rest. And when I got up for a couple hours and went back and laid down for 3 or 4 hours, I didn't know what that, but I felt it. And I didn't eat as much today, too, on purpose. Now it's getting real late, so I ain't going to really eat nothing, but I'm going to eat one of the mangoes in that fridge. Yes, I is. Natural sugar to the relaxation techniques. Practice yoga, deep breathing, or stretching to release muscle tension and promote relaxation. That's a no-brainer. Routine health checks. That's another no-brainer. And but I'm going to say it. Schedule regular medical checkups and listen to your body's signals to address any physical concerns early on. You hear that? Listen to your body's signals. Your body talks to you. Sometimes our heads are so caught up in other things, we ignore the tinglings in certain parts, the aches and pains in other parts, the swelling in certain parts. And if we talk to our body, that don't mean move your mouth. But just think about it. Each part. Go do your pre-flight. How you feel when you go to bed? How you feel when you wake up? Your body will tell you straight and warn you of things before they happen. Folk out there having a heart attack, body saying, well, it ain't like I didn't give you the signs. You know what I mean? Then we want to clean up and eat better because we got scared if we survived that day. Spiritual solutions, daily reflection. Set aside time each day for self-reflection, meditation, or prayer to reconnect with your spiritual self. And they said reconnect. That means connected. Like right now, when I go down into the city, I'm so zombied out. Not zombie where I'm not thinking. That's the wrong term, but I'm on such a different plane. Almost like I see things in slow motion. Not really, but my focus is so intense because I come from not many people, and there's a big wall around this property right now. You know, I mean, I like that though. That's the New York City in me. You know what I mean? There's all kind of animals out there making weird noises that I never heard before. There's these animals out here. I got to record it and play it back for some of the people who grew up here. These things, they obviously going through the process of reproduction. But it's funny because I said to a friend of mine up here, I said, they a remake of the song Love to Love You Baby in animal form. And that's all I heard when I was walking up that street for 15 miles in the dark. You hear, it's like it's all around you. It's crazy, right? Community involvement. Participate in spiritual or community gatherings that align with your benefits to foster a sense of well-being. Doesn't mean you have to go to anybody. If you don't feel it, it's okay. main thing is connecting with people on the same wavelength. It doesn't have to be religious. If you're a revolutionary and a strong sister, like Sister Hope Rice, you want to be around people like that. Matter of fact, all of us, we may express it in different ways. Yeah, right, Giant Gain. Not zombied out, zoned in. I'm getting the sleepies a little bit, so I'm saying all kind of words that I have a friend like that. We'll be talking on the phone, get late, he'll get tired, and he knows. I'm like, when you get tired, you start talking funny, I'm straight laughing at you, man. He'll start talking, he'll say something. No, what you gonna do tomorrow, man? Well, I'm gonna get up in the morning and pet that dog and eat them crackers that fell under the couch. I'm like, what did you say? Oh, man, no, you know I'm tired. I'm talking stupid. You said the dog and eat the crackers that fell under the bottom of the couch. Do you really do that? I've done it and caught myself. I'm like, oh man, time for me to get off this phone because I'm embarrassed myself. Right? Practice gratitude. Cultivate an attitude of gratitude by acknowledging and appreciating the positive aspects of your life, no matter how small. If you do that, it really does work. The small thing. I remember I was moving pots outside, some flower pots and some grow bags, and I tripped. It was a big grow bag. Miss Scurv had this exotic plant in it, this little tree. I tripped, and I came out of my slippers, and my little toe hit the other grow bag, but the dirt was so compacted in it, I busted. I knew I broke my toe. Break it, but for the next 3 days, I appreciated having a properly working toe. We take our toes for granted. Every part of our body is crucial. We take those things for granted. Not me, not anymore. Not after that whole toe dilemma. No way. Last one for the spiritual, and the last one actually for the whole show. Align with your values. Live in accordance with your principles, making decisions that reflect your true self and spiritual beliefs. You have people that come around you and try to influence you. No, you can't say that. You can't feel that way. Oh, you're too angry. Oh, no. If you feel it, how do you give me a size 10 shoe and I got size 12 feet and they wide? I'm like a duck. I'm 5'10". I got a 12 size. It's not going to feel right. It's me who's wearing those shoes. I got to wear the shoe that fits me. Live in accordance with your principles and values, making decisions that reflect your true self and spiritual. And a person may say it's your spiritual beliefs, but it's not belief to you. It's what you know. But to be politically correct, we say beliefs to honor everybody who may be nutcases anyway. But it's an ongoing process, and you got to be aware of it. And it takes effort and commitment and self-care. But to identify the imbalances and then practice the solutions, like walk around in balance, realize it, and just walk around that way, it's just going to get worse. But, look at a tripod that you hold a camera on. 3 legs. One of those legs are a little shorter, whole tripod's going to. So you have to maintain balance, and you have different stresses that are coming at you every day, different stuff, different combinations. It might be a little physical thing, then something on the job, mental, and then just different combinations. You got to figure it out. You walk down the high school hallway and you see the lockers on both sides. All the locks look the same, but they have a different combination. You walk down the street, you see all these different people with smiles on their face, but they all are going through some type of, it may not even be a major attack. It might be a little discomfort. Their life might be great. Sometimes the life might not be where they want it to be. And they maintain a front. They have different combinations. And you go through a day. Have you gone through a day where you woke up, you're a little sad, a little down, you hear a song, and it reminds you of something, and it jumpstarts something else, and for the rest of the day, you jolly. Ain't nothing wrong with you. And that's not by chance. Find the combination of things that will always bring you up and think about it. You know what I mean? That's the only way to go. I'm going to drop the, as I always do, I be inviting you into the party, but nobody be coming. I'm gonna keep on inviting you, y'all. And anybody wants to jump in the conference line after, the link up there is at the top of the chat room. But there's a link to jump in. If you want to come in and say something for a few minutes, feel free to do so. If not, Scurv gonna take himself to bed and get a good sleep, and I'm gonna enjoy that pillow. I'm gonna enjoy that pillow. Yes, I is. So yeah, I'll give it a few seconds and whatnot. But for the sake of just correcting what, and I'm not saying this in order to try to solicit anybody, but there was a fake Cash App made. Somebody was getting money. The real and only ones, and there's more that are listed down, but the Cash App is Lancescurv Live. It used to be Lancescurv, but now it's Lancescurv Live. It used to be the Lancescurv Show, but it's Lancescurv Live. That's the only one. You send it anywhere else, it doesn't come to me. And I want to thank Metamorphosis for his donation that he put onto the Cash App, whether he's listening or not. Oh yeah, Metamorphosis Neil Frazier will be back on tomorrow evening. Oh, it's evening for me, but we'll be back on tomorrow. He had some things for the last 2 weeks he had to take care of. They're taken care of, and he'll be back tomorrow, Monday night. And PayPal is also Lancescurv Live. And I think I changed it from the scrolly on the bottom. But if not, that's okay. So, just want to say, I'm going to sign off. Going once, going twice, going 3 times. Let me see if there's anybody that I need to acknowledge. I'm glad the sound is working all right. I'm using a different mic. My original mics, I have this little gadget hooked up to it. And I had a little malfunction when I tested it the other day. And I was like, oh, maybe I should not do it. But I corrected everything. And we got knocked out earlier. So when you listen to the replay of the show, it was like maybe 3 minutes or so, 2 minutes maybe. I don't know. And I wasn't panicking, but my internet got knocked out. But everything ran good. I'm here. I'm just glad that you all are here and we made it this far. Don't let things in the world psych you out, but at the same time, be aware. It's like when I go out in the yard, I'm aware that we have pythons and king cobras on this mountain. I have a wall around the property, so chances are they're not going to come up. But we did have a time, was it last year, where a python came up and climbed up on my top balcony, jumped down on the second. But at nighttime in the mountains, it can get cool. And with the clouds touching down, it's moist. So they're cold and they're moist. And when the sun comes out in the daytime, starting from early, they like to come out and lay out where the sun can hit them directly, where it's a little more dry. So that's what it is. So it's nothing to be afraid of, but I don't want to step on one because guess what? He's going to bite me. And it ain't no garden snake. We're not trying to leave up out of this earth, right? No time soon. We got stuff to do. But thank you, Giant Gain. Thank you, Synovia. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Oh, Mad Guns, I didn't see you come in, brother. I wasn't ignoring you. The Lancinator. Remember, I'm not saying that name out of ego. He gave me that name, the Lancinator. So I'm going to come up with a funny graphic. So don't say, oh, he's tripping. He's all into himself. He's calling himself the Terminator now. No, I was ordained that by the great Mad Guns Forever with the trademark name. Yes, indeed. So I'm going to sign off right now, and we'll be back tomorrow. I'm going to record that interview that I'm going to be in. And I think it's going to be 11 o'clock my time, 7 o'clock East Coast time. If I can rig it in, I may out and do it since it's going to be through the phone on TikTok. But I have to find a way to record it. And if I can distribute a link when he gives it to me, there's some way for those who have TikTok, because, you know, folks, sometimes they don't want that, they don't want this. I'll make sure you hear it. Let's just put it that way. So I know that last Monday, it was about 3 hours long that I talked, and we let other people in. But this time he said, listen, it's going to be me and you, and I'm going to hit you with some questions. So it's going to be a good thing. And if you notice I think it's the community section of this YouTube, I think I put the picture up there where it's me. I have this white top on, African style with the embroidery. There's a young lady in the picture, and the brother standing in front of my garage in Orlando. That's him. So we broke bread together. So, you know, we spent some good time together, and we're forever connected. And even if we meet or not, like, I'm forever connected to Mad Guns Forever and everybody here in a special way. It's like, look, I met Hope Rice face to face, but her spirit is so strong Even if I didn't face to face, Tracy J, Giant Gaines, Novia, everybody who's here. If I missed your name, it was up. It's just that feel. And I love to see that you all get together too. So on that note, I am going to sign off. And it's been good. And we're going to come back tomorrow, you know, and let's bring some more goodness and knowledge. And we're going to have some fun shows now. You know what I mean? They ain't going to be just information and stuff. We're going to break out. But that's going to be on the conference line. Anybody want to go to the conference line to the show? Fine. I'll be laying down. I'm going to go on there and wait for 5 minutes. If nobody comes with us, okay. But there'll be times we get on there and we'll stay on there for a long time. But I want to pick a day or an evening or a night where we can go on. Just, you know, it's going to be on faithfully at least once a week. You can just pop on in and say hi, or pop on in and hear what people are talking about. And it's just conversation. Whatever you want to talk about, we're going to go there. But anyway, much love to you all. Take care. Lancescurv out. On to the next one. I'm going to sleep deep, and I feel good about this show. Thank you so much.